The old empire priests managed to corrupt the concept of individual immortality into the idea that there is only one, all-powerful Is-Be, and that no one else is, or is allowed to be an Is-Be. Obviously, this is the work of the old empire amnesia operation. It is easy to teach this altered notion to beings who do not want to be responsible for their own lives. Slaves are such beings. As long as one chooses to assign responsibility for creation, existence and personal accountability for one's own thoughts and actions to others, one is a slave. As a result, the concept of a single monotheistic God resulted, and was promoted by many self-proclaimed prophets, such as the Jewish slave leader, Moses, who grew up in the household of the Pharaoh Amenhotep III and his son, Akhenaten, and his wife Nefertiti, as well as his son Tutankhamun. The attempt to teach certain beings on earth the truth that they are, themselves, Is-Bes, was part of a plan to overthrow the fictional metaphorical anthropomorphic panoply of gods created by the old empire mystery cult called the Brothers of the Serpent, known in Egypt as the priests of Amon. They were a very ancient, secret society within the old empire. The pharaoh, Akhenaten, was not a very intelligent being, and was heavily influenced by his personal ambition for self-glorification. He altered the concept of the individual spiritual being, and embodied the concept in the sun god, Aten. His pitiful existence was soon ended. He was assassinated by Maya and Berenifer, two of the priests of Amon, or Amen, which the Christians still say, who represented the interests of the old empire forces. The idea of one God was perpetuated by the Hebrew leader Moses while he was in Egypt. He left Egypt with his adopted people, the Jewish slaves. While they were crossing the desert, Moses was intercepted by an operative of the old empire near Mount Sinai. Moses was tricked into believing that this operative was the one God through the use of hypnotic commands, as well as technical and aesthetic tricks which are commonly used by the old empire to trap Is-Bes. Thereafter, the Jewish slaves, who trusted the word of Moses implicitly, have worshipped a single God they call Yahweh. The name Yahweh means anonymous, as Is-Be, who worked with Moses, could not choose an actual name, or anything that would identify himself, or blow the cover of the amnesia/prison operation. The last thing the covert amnesia/hypnosis/prison system wants to do is to reveal themselves openly to the Is-Bes on Earth. They feel that this would restore the inmates' memories. This is the reason that all traces of physical encounters between operatives of space civilizations and humans is very carefully hidden, disguised, covered up, denied or misdirected. This old empire operative contacted Moses on a desert mountain top and delivered the 10 hypnotic commands to him. These commands are very forcefully worded and compel an Is-Be into utter subservience to the will of the operator. These hypnotic commands are still in effect and influence the thought patterns. Incidentally, we later discovered that the so-called Yahweh also wrote, programmed, and encoded the text of the Torah, which, when it is read literally, or in its decoded form, will provide a great deal more false information to those who read it. Ultimately, the Vedic hymns became the source of nearly all of Eastern religions, and were the philosophical source of the ideas common to Buddha, Laozi, Zoroaster, and other philosophers. The civilizing influences of these philosophies eventually replaced the brutal idolatry of the old empire religions, and were the true genesis of kindness and compassion. You asked me earlier why the domain and other space civilizations do not land on Earth or make their presence known. Land on Earth. Do you think we are crazy, or want to be crazy? It takes a very brave Is-Be to come down through the atmosphere and land on Earth, because this is a prison planet with a very uncontrolled psychotic population, and no Is-Be is entirely proof against the risk of entrapment, as with the members of the Domain Expeditionary Force who were captured in the Himalayas 8,200 years ago. No one knows what ISBs on Earth are going to do. We are not scheduled to invest the resources of the domain, to take total control of all the space surrounding the area at this time. This will occur in the not too distant future, about 5,000 Earth years, according to the time schedule of the domain. At this time we do not prevent transports from other planetary systems, or galaxies from continuing to drop ISBs into the amnesia force screen area. Eventually, this will change. In addition, Earth, inherently, is a highly unstable planet. It is not suitable for settlement or permanent habitation for any sustainable civilization. This is part of the reason why it is being used as a prison planet. No one else would seriously consider living here for a variety of simple and compelling reasons. 1. The continental land masses of Earth are floating on a sea of molten lava beneath the surface, which causes the land masses to crack, crumble and drift continually. 2. Because of the liquid nature of the core, the planet is largely volcanic and subject to earthquakes and volcanic explosions. 3. The magnetic poles of the planet shift radically about once every 20,000 years. This causes a greater or lesser degree of devastation as a result of tidal waves and climatic changes. 4. Earth is very distant from the center of the galaxy and from any other significant galactic civilization. This isolation makes it unsuitable for use, except as a pit stop or jumping off point along the way between galaxies. The Moon and asteroids are far more suitable for this purpose, because they do not have any significant gravity. 5. Earth is a heavy gravity planet, with heavy metallic soil and a dense atmosphere. This makes it treacherous for navigational purposes. That fact that I am in this room, as the result of an in-flight accident, in spite of the technology of my craft, and my extensive expertise as a pilot, are proof of these facts. 6. There are approximately 60 billion Earth-like Sun-type 12 Class 7 planets in the Milky Way galaxy alone, not to mention the vast expanses of the domain and the territories we will claim in the future. It is difficult to stretch our resources to do much more than a periodic reconnaissance of Earth, especially when there are no immediate advantages to invest resources here. 7. On Earth most beings are not aware that they are ISBs, or that there are spirits of any kind. Many other beings are aware of this, but nearly everyone has a very limited understanding of themselves as an ISB. One of the reasons for this is that ISBs have been waging war against each other since the beginning of time. The purpose of these wars have always been to establish domination by one ISB or group of ISBs over another. Since an ISB cannot be killed, the objective has been to capture and immobilize ISBs. This has been done in a nearly unlimited variety of ways. The most basic method to capture and immobilize an ISB is through the use of various kinds of traps. ISB traps have been made and put in place by many invading societies, such as the one that established the old empire, beginning about 64 trillion years ago. Traps are often set up in the territory of the ISBs being attacked. Usually a trap is set with the electronic wave of beauty to attract the interest and attention of the ISB. When the ISB moves toward the source of the aesthetic wave, such as a beautiful building or beautiful music, the trap is activated by the energy put out by the ISB. One of the most common trap mechanisms uses the ISB's own thought energy output when the ISB tries to attack or fight back against the trap. The trap is activated and energized by the ISB's own thought energy. The harder the ISB fights against the trap, the more it pulls the ISB toward it and keeps them stuck in the trap. Throughout the entire history of this physical universe, vast areas of space have been taken over and colonized by ISB societies who invade and take over new areas of space in this fashion. In the past, these invasions have always shared common elements. 1. The overwhelming use of force of arms, usually with nuclear or electronic weapons. 2. mind control of the ISBs in the invaded area through the use of electroshock, drugs, hypnosis, erasure of memory and the implantation of false memory or false information intended to subjugate and enslave the local ISB population. 3. Takeover of natural resources by the invading ISBs. 4. Political, economic, and social slavery of the local population. These activities continue in present time. All of the ISBs on Earth have been members of one or more of these activities in the past, both as an invader or as part of the population being invaded. There are no saints in this universe. Very few have avoided or been exempted from warfare between ISBs. ISBs on Earth are still the victims of this activity at this very moment. The between lives amnesia administered to ISBs is one of the mechanisms of an elaborate system of old Empire ISB traps that prevent an ISB from escaping. This operation is managed by an illicit, renegade secret police force of the old Empire, using false provocation operations to disguise their activities in order to prevent detection by their own government, a domain, and by the victims of their activities. They are mind control methods developed by government psychiatrists. Earth is a ghetto planet. It is the result of an intergalactic holocaust. ISBs have been sentenced to Earth either because 1. They are too viciously insane or perverse to function as part of any civilization, no matter how degraded or corrupt. 2. Or they are a revolutionary threat to the social, economic, and political caste system that has been so carefully built and brutally enforced in the old Empire. Biological bodies are specifically designed and designated as the lowest order of entity in the old Empire caste system. When an ISB is sent to Earth and then tricked or coerced into operating in a biological body, they are actually in a prison, inside a prison. 3. In an effort to permanently and irreversibly rid the old Empire of such untouchables, the eternal identity, memory, and abilities of every ISB is forcefully erased. This final solution was conceived and carried out by the psychopathic criminals who are controlled by the old Empire. The mass extermination of untouchables and prison camps created by Germany during World War II were recently revealed. Likewise, the ISBs of Earth are the victims of spiritual eradication and eternal slavery inside frail, biological bodies, inspired by the same kind of craven hatred in the old Empire. The kind and creative inmates of Earth are continuously tortured by butchers and lunatics who are controlled by the old Empire prison operators. The so-called civilizations of Earth, from the age of useless pyramids to the age of nuclear holocaust, have been a colossal waste of natural resources, a perverted use of intelligence, and an overt oppression of the spiritual essence of every single ISB on the planet. If the domain sent ships to every corner of the universe in search of hell, their quest could end on Earth. What greater brutality can be inflicted on anyone than to erase the spiritual awareness, identity, ability, and memory that is the essence of oneself? A domain has, as yet, been unable to rescue the 3,000 ISBs of the Expeditionary Force Battalion either. They are forced to inhabit biological bodies on Earth. We have been able to recognize and track most of them for the past 8,000 years. However, our attempts to communicate with them are usually futile, as they are unable to remember their true identity. The majority of lost members of the Domain Force have followed the general progression of Western civilization from India into the Middle East, then to Chaldea and Babylon, into Egypt, through Achaea, Greece, Rome, into Europe, to the Western Hemisphere, and then all around the world. The members of the Lost Battalion and many other ISBs on Earth could be valuable citizens of the Domain, not including those who are vicious criminals or perverts. Unfortunately, there has been no workable method conceived to emancipate these ISBs from Earth. Therefore, as a matter of common logic, as well as the official policy of the Domain, it is safer and more sensible to avoid contact with the is-be population of Earth until such time as the proper resources can be allocated to locate and destroy the old Empire force screen and amnesia machinery and develop a therapy to restore the memory of an is-be.